Hi everyone, my name is Dilnawaz Khan. I am the incubation advisor at JECRC University. Today I'm hosting Dr. Panneerselvam Madanagopal, who's the CEO of MeitY Startup Hub, Government of India. A quick career overview about Dr. PS. So Dr. PS is a seasoned leader with over 2 decades of experience in innovation, management, strategic growth, and startup ecosystem development. His career spans role in both industry and government-linked initiatives. All of those initiatives aim towards fostering entrepreneurship and technology innovation in the country. He comes from a private sector and later on moved onto the government role. In the private sector, he has held senior positions in strategy, marketing, and market development role. Last, he served as a vice president and chief innovation officer at T-Hub, and currently he leads the MeitY Startup Hub, the Government of India initiative, as the CEO. So today he's going to drop a lot of wisdom nuggets in front of all of you about how can you leverage all the initiative resources, grants available from the Government of India, and then how can MeitY and MSH support you in building a startup journey, and we'll go deeper and beyond. So listen to this conversation and I hope you will find some very interesting things that you can look forward to. So without getting into more of a monologue, I want to welcome you, sir, to this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And before we get into the deeper conversation around what's happening in India, the digital India, the India AI, the government initiative schemes, and all of those kind of things, take us quickly through your career journey, because I read that you started from a researcher at Nielsen to a strategy role and to now working with the government. So take us through the journey. How has been it so far, coming from corporate then to a government? How has been the journey so far?
Thank you for having me in this podcast. I think I have been extremely lucky as well as blessed to have such a career with every 7-8 years I have done something very new. And yes, I did start as a researcher, as a market researcher, with about building, learning about consumer behavior, markets, brands, and other things for almost 7.5-8 years. Then that led to me into getting into consulting largely again in the D2C and building brands and building large corporations. So strategy and market development was my core area. Once I was working on strategy and family business transformation, I got into teaching, and teaching also helped me to connect with the innovation leaders across various ecosystems. And that's when I kind of got into a conversation with T-Hub and when I started my journey as a mentor, because we were building some power brands in Hyderabad, and that caught the eyes of the T-Hub leaders, and then they called me and said, why don't you mentor some of our startups? So I started as a mentor, then became an advisor, senior advisor, then vice president, and then eventually a chief innovation officer. So I have been very fortunate to get an opportunity to do what I wanted, or what it was I was excited about. And I also, on the other side, I also say that I was open to new things coming my way. So I took every opportunity and including now I'm looking after the Indian deep tech ecosystem at MeitY Startup Hub, where we are the custodians of the deep tech startup ecosystem. So I would say one led to another. It was more a natural progression, and that's the way the career has panned out.
Awesome. So I think I could clearly see you moving from consulting and then understanding D2C market development strategy. I think makes you like a perfect guy to spearhead these startup initiatives in India, especially at a government level, because you understand all them really, really well. I also was listening to your talk, and I also went through the profile. You have almost been living in every major hub in the country. A quick comment from your side on the current state of Indian innovation and startup ecosystem, and maybe you can break into 2 parts, talking about what's the current state of innovation in India and what's the current state of startup ecosystem in India. If you can quickly give me 2 cents of a thought on that.
Absolutely. So the current state of innovation is quite exciting. So yes, there is in India we have this, used to have a concept called Jugaad, which is the Desi innovation or equivalent of an innovation, right? And as we always say, necessity is the mother of all invention. It has also been our driving force to figure out newer things. But when it comes to innovation at a large scale, we still have some ground to cover. We still need innovation with intellectual property, ownership. We need innovation with that can impact lives in large scale and quantum, and innovation in technology are areas that we still have some ground to cover, right? So most of our innovations have come from frugal innovations that are impacting quality of life at a very tactical level. But if you look at large scale strategic innovation, yes, there are definitely some of them we have done very well, but there is lot more ground to cover as compared, especially in the tech space, and that's something which is very very important coming from a large market like ours.
Right.
On the startup side, I think we have done really well with India being the third largest startup ecosystem in the country with close to 200,000 startups now. We have done really well. We have the width. There is a startup in every possible domain, and we just had some interesting interaction with some of the startups. Some of these solutions that I have not even probably heard of before, but so there is a solution for a problem, and there's tons of new ideas being executed. I think that the real transformation in the last 5-7 years that has happened is idea to execution conversion. I think that has hit a very good number, right? I would say if 10-20 years back, a lot of people had ideas, a lot of people had fantastic thought processes, solutions, but taking that plunge and getting into an execution mode was very few and but today I would say a significant amount of that has changed, and today probably 50-60% of them are executing their ideas, willing to test out their ideas in the market. They are putting that either their own money or support from the government funds to kind of do a MVP, do a prototype, and then that conversion has really increased. I think that's a great transition that I see today. And having said that, yes, again, what we need to focus on is product side of innovation, because a significant amount of our is all service driven. Platforms and services, but to make India truly a Viksit Bharat and an Atmanirbhar Bharat, today we really need about product innovation, product IP related solutions, things that we can sell to the world.
Sure.
That is where our startup should start focusing.
Perfect. So I think very interesting base for the audience that you have set, and I'll build a couple of questions on that, because a lot of people maybe who are going to watch this later on may not about what government is doing to support startups, right? And I want to start with really basic stuff first, right? Definitely in past 9 years, a lot has changed in the Indian startup ecosystem. I've been an active member of the ecosystem myself, and we see a lot of support coming from the government post Startup India initiative, right? Can you talk about some of the key schemes, key programs, key initiatives that anybody who's thinking of becoming an entrepreneur today should be knowing about? So what are those basic schemes? Like what is that, I would say, startup support by the government of India 101? What would that be?
True. So there is a lot of support. It is, to my mind, almost as I was keep mentioning, there are about 16 to 17 ministries that are running startup programs. There is multiple corporate ventures who are doing some startup programs. There are multiple academic organizations that are driving startup initiatives. So if you are thinking of starting up business, there's no better time than now.
Sure.
Specifically to your question of the government support, again, there are some under MeitY, there is almost 3 verticals, which is MeitY Startup Hub being the flagship brand of MeitY when it comes to the startup program. There is India AI Mission, and there is India Semiconductor Mission, and then there is STPI. So all of these verticals of MeitY themselves run various startup programs, and each of them have different schemes to run for their at different stages of support for startups. For example, let me take MeitY Startup Hub itself. So we have 3 programs. One is Tide, Samrid, and Genesis. So Tide is a program that has a very clear-cut focus on building entrepreneur in residence, that is idea to MVP stage, idea to and then we have Samrid, which is the acceleration program. So once you reach a certain stage in Tide, you can graduate to the Samrid program.
Sure.
And then if you are from a tier 2, tier 3 city, you should definitely know about the Genesis program, which is coming up very soon, which is basically a program again in terms of idea to which has 4 modules. EIR, which is entrepreneur in residence, which is up to 10 lakh of grant. And then we have a pilot funding module, which is up to 50 lakh for funding your pilot projects, your purchase orders or work orders if need be. Then you have an investment module up to 50 lakhs, which is again bringing matching investment where you are at a growth stage or an early growth to growth stage. And then last but not the least, up to 1 crore of funding for deep tech startups who are in the growth and on acceleration stage. So similarly, that is just about MeitY Startup Hub. Similarly, India AI has a startup program. Similarly, India Semiconductor Mission has a startup program, and Startup India themselves have a fund of funds program. So there is absolutely no dearth of support system, both in terms of program schemes or money. So yes, all you need is a good idea and a great ability to execute it.
Perfect. Now, that's a great, I would say, like I said, 101 lesson for anybody trying to kind of get into. And we have seen the result of all of this happening, right? In past 5, 6, 7 years, we have seen unicorns coming out of the country, and then startups doing IPO, and then millions of dollars of funding being raised and companies getting that valuation, right? And I would give credit to even initiatives like Digital India and all of those kind of, and of course spearheaded by MeitY to kind of do all of this. But you mentioned very specifically about, let us say, semiconductor mission, or let us say AI mission, and then you gave a special thrust on the product side, right? Now, these are tough spaces and tough sectors to build in, right? In general, like rather than building a SaaS company or a consumer app company, right? When you think of building in AI, deep tech, semiconductor or product, right? These are tough things to do. From your experience of maybe meeting thousands of startups and working with so many of them, and again being such a critical part of the ministry, what are those 2-3 things or 4-5 things you want startups to remember or founders to remember when they're thinking of getting into these spaces, especially when they're thinking to building a product or deep tech or maybe around semiconductor or AI, which has a longer gestation period, right? So for a SaaS company, can be built in under 3 months to 6 months. A deep tech company would need 3 years for that, right? So what's the, I would say, what are the 2, 3, 4 things they should remember? Part number 1, let's address that, and then maybe I'll have another question to build on top of it, because I want to understand and take a deep dive into deep tech. But yeah, what are a couple of things from your side that founders need to understand?
Well, if I understand the question, saying if you're building a deep tech or a strategically tech-driven startup,
product
driven, yeah. So I think first and foremost, I think you've got to be very, very clear of what is the solution that you're taking to the market.
Okay.
Right, because end of the day, and how validated that solution is in the marketplace. Because end of the day, you may build a very fancy solution, but if there is no takers for the solution in the market, then all that effort goes down the drain, right? So you got to be very, very sure of at least 60%, 70% sure that what you're building is what the market wants, right? So that's the first part. Second aspect is you should be in it for a longer haul. Right? You have to mentally prepare yourself that this is going to take 3-5 years and I'm going to be doing this for next 3-5 years. And you don't start your conversation saying, I will exit in 3 years, I will exit in 2 years, I'll give you an exit in 3 years. That's not going to happen, right? So having said that, it is going to be a very, very important element to be prepared for the long haul. Third is to have a solid mentor, because it's very, very critical that mentorship is more important than money in the startup game. People underestimate the mentorship, so we need to ensure that you need to have a very good mentor who can guide you, and not just maybe one, but also a multiple set of mentors who can guide you to take it to the journey. And last but not least, have a co-founder, because it's important to have some support in terms of your complementing skill sets, because you may not be the best person to build if you are great at building technology, you have to build you need somebody who is great at building teams. So you need to have a good co-founder or a support system or a founding team that is important to drive. And last but not the least, have some sort of a skin in the game, which is your own money. Bootstrapping is relevant and required to build credibility for the next set of investors or your friends and families who will come into the round. So these are few things that I can think of.
Absolutely. So PS, you spoke about, in fact, you already kind of answered my next question, which was on the mindset, right? And you have beautifully covered it by saying that they need to have a mindset of that they're trying to be in this for the long haul, and they should have a co-founder and be prepared and should be able to have that leadership skill to build the team. So nicely put. But I have now a question from a completely different side, because a lot of such founders who aspire to kind of build such companies may not have the right resources, right? So if you can answer this question again in two parts. If they do not have such resources available, should they even attempt of solving this? And if yes, then how can the resources be mobilized? So if you can answer that question.
Yes, to the first part of your question, should they attempt? Absolutely yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is why there is so much support system in the country today. All right, you have seed funds, you have angel investors, you have seed investors, you have micro VCs, you have VCs. So money is not a constraint if you have the right intent to build. Right. So the question is, if you have a great solution, you have the capable intent to build it. And more importantly, you have the capability to build it. Money will come.
Okay.
Right. The question is, if you are just dabbling with it, it's also a commitment, right? How committed are you to the idea? Sometimes we just get up and say, hey, we will have this. I have this idea. Should I go and build it? No, it doesn't work like that. You should validate it. You should ensure that it has a market. And last but not the least, you have to understand what is your capability to win in that space.
So to kind of once again reiterate and summarize for the audience, what you're saying is, if you have the right mindset and the right intent and the patience to be in the game,
and the skill set,
the money and the resources will automatically come. That there's no dearth of that. Absolutely. From there, I want to now bring the conversation to you, right? And of course, thanks for giving all the perspective. But I want to understand what drives you, right? Because what is that motivates you to kind of be on top of all of these things, and what is your daily drive? Like when you get up in the morning, what is that you think of, and what is driving you to kind of push and do all of these things?
Well, that's a very interesting question. What drives me? I think learning drives me, and contributing drives me. Ability to make a difference in somebody else's life drives me. And my philosophy is very clear. Even if you spend 15-20 minutes with somebody, leave a positive thought with them, leave something that they can value or use. They may or may not value, that's a different thing, but at least what they can use is what. So from my end is, I go to the universe giving, and the universe always has blessed back in multiple folds. So my idea is to see how I can add value to my people around me. So that's what drives me, and that what has got me here. Because when you see very successful, very super rich people on a daily basis, and you feel, oh, I should have been in my corporate life, when I should have been in my consulting life, but the truth is, here you are an enabler, and you are a giver, and you need to have that mindset to say, hey, this is what makes me happy end of the day, and that is more than any fancy home or a car that I can drive.
Sure. Amazing. And what's your vision with all this, whatever you're trying to do? In the sense, what is the ultimate vision that you want to achieve out of your current role, and how do you see that translating into action on the ground?
Well, the ultimate vision is already set by our Honorable Prime Minister. It is a national vision.
Okay.
All right. And one of the reasons I chose this role despite a challenging remuneration, because obviously in consulting life we get paid very differently.
Right.
All right. But the truth is, how often do you get an opportunity to contribute to the nation? Right. That is one. Second is. I studied in a Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda College. Right in the early stages, it's always been said that, the whole idea that you have to give back to the country and be a part of how you can add value to your nation, right? So that thought, as today, I'm so happy that I'm able to be a small part in the country's technology scenario. And if I can, if not hundreds, even if you build 50 startups who can employ another 100 people, that's 5,000 people you have created jobs for, and that means 5,000 families are directly touched.
Correct.
Which means another 5,000 is indirectly touched.
Correct.
Right? So that is what is my vision. The whole idea is to ability to contribute to the country, to be part of this whole journey towards a Viksit Bharat. And the whole idea is to play a small role, but a very committed role in building India as a global nation.
Perfect. ठीक है. Just a second. Okay, maybe you can. I'll just ask him. So if he's not comfortable with this thing, we can cut it later on, right? So I was listening to a speech and I was making some notes, right? And I heard you cracking joke on your own name, which I find very fascinating, because I believe a person who can crack a joke on his own name, he is a super solid person. Like nothing can break you down. A person who can take a joke on a name. Tell me some, maybe I'll not say the story, but tell me how this thing has helped you in becoming more resilient, because I see this then translating into what you're trying to do on ground.
Absolutely.
Tell about that story. Tell about what you mentioned. Tell, maybe if you're comfortable, tell the
yeah,
joke,
why not?
because that's really fascinating. Like I honestly believe if you can take a joke on yourself, I think you don't care of the world, right? You're just super focused internally.
Correct. So I always feel one should never take themselves too seriously.
Correct.
And the day you start taking yourself too seriously, then you're done, right? Because then your ego starts playing, and you are not here to serve. So the name is something that is given to us.
Correct.
99%. I mean, yes, today in time and era we have an opportunity, but I have actually, right from the beginning, I have used my name as more as an advantage rather than because it's a very unique name. Of course, my grandfather never had an idea that I will be traveling length and breadth of North India.
Correct.
With a name like Paneer, and Panneerselvam is my full name. But the truth is, people don't easily forget it.
Correct.
So in my early days in research, when I used to do a focus group, I will introduce myself, and then I will go around the table and get everybody introduced, and then I'll ask what is my name, and there will be some small smiles and giggles, and that is the best icebreaker that I can get for my focus group. And then they are all loosened up, they will start contributing from the word go. Otherwise, I'll have to make an effort to break an ice, right? So, and people don't forget my name easily. So when I crack a joke on my name, I build a memory concept into their head, and then they realize that then they don't forget me, and if they don't forget me, then they will call me sometime for business.
That's awesome,
right? So that is essentially what has happened. There are people who I have met in a conference. I have called me after 5-6 years and given me business. Wow. So that is something which is very important, and it also keeps reminding me that one should not take oneself too seriously, and the day you start taking yourself so seriously, then you are pretty much done.
I think I loved this mindset again. I think the audience who's going to watch this later on is going to take not just some, I would say, startup lessons or access to some resources, but the mindset lessons. I would say this is a very interesting conversation, and especially this piece. Another interesting thing I noted from your speech. You calling COVID as a chief innovation officer, and it matches your designation, right, in the previous role, right? Why do you call COVID as a chief innovation officer? And let's say that's like a micro question, but the macro question here is, the world is a very unstable place, right? COVID can happen, and the AI wave can happen, and the war can happen, and things can happen again. And this will I'm bringing you to the mindset again. What kind of mindset should people adopt when things go south, things go bad?
Well, so again, I like to, maybe you can say it comes little naturally to me because I have spent a lot of time in branding, marketing. I worked with some of the best leaders in that marketing in my early days in career. So I kind of try to make it concise and put together in a line or two what I try to do. So and create patterns that stick in people's mind. So ability to message is something that, and tell a story is something that I have been very, very keen on. So I use these techniques to kind of send out a message that sticks, right? Having said that, COVID is the chief innovation officer of most of the company. In fact, not just companies but also the country.
Mm-hmm.
Supreme Court started functioning online.
Yeah.
We never would have imagined the apex court in the country working. And what has happened today? It continues. People are arguing cases on hybrid model, right? Cases are run till 2:00, 3:00 in the night. So COVID pushed us, to things that we have not done, beyond our comfort zones. I think when you are pushed beyond your comfort zone, innovation automatically happens.
Absolutely.
Right. The second aspect of that is, it's also important to understand that COVID also, really taught us, many years. If you attended any HR conferences, people would have been talking about what was the VUCA world. Volatile, uncertain, ambiguous world. COVID literally showed what it was.
Correct.
Right? The VUCA, and we were all talking for last 15-20 years, VUCA world, but this COVID really showed us, and we were not prepared for the VUCA world, right? So today we live in a world of volatility.
Absolutely.
We live in a world of uncertainty and ambiguity. So pretty much to a great extent, we are living the VUCA world, and we have to ensure that this preparedness is there, and COVID also set a new zero for many things, right? The new normal changed, right? So the new normal changed, and that.
You want to repeat this part? It's okay. You can just restart maybe from the
so
COVID
the COVID also reset a lot of things. COVID also set a new normal for a lot of things. Right. So people started, we created this concept called work from hometown and not from work from home.
Correct.
Right. Obviously, in initial days it was work from home, but then eventually became work from hometown, which kind of reduced the stress on larger cities.
Sure.
So a lot of new things came out of COVID. Hence, I kind of coined this phrase that COVID is the chief innovation officer of most of the organizations.
And that's such a nice, again, catchy phrase. I think if somebody would have listened to you for a couple of hours, and I've been with you for almost the entire day, your general conversation at the end of the day would reflect that you are a master in branding and marketing, right? So you while lunch, and maybe now when you're talking, and even in the thing, we understand how you put two and two together. So very, very interesting take. I think that experience shows in the conversation. So pretty amazing. But to build upon, just to add another question on the VUCA part, should people be scared of the VUCA world? Because in today's world, and again you lead another AI initiative as well, a lot of people see AI as enemy, right? And people are really scared with the news of layoffs going all over the world and the country, and then everybody getting scared. What's your take on AI taking over the world? What is your take on people getting afraid of AI, and what is your take on VUCA world even becoming even 10x difficult going forward? What's your take on that?
Well, see, whether we like it or not, AI is already here.
Mm-hmm.
AI is already starting to impact the way we do things.
Mm-hmm.
AI is already impacting the way you consume content. When you consume content, it impacts your thinking.
Sure.
And it does what it does. So there is a AI already in our lives, quite well penetrated. If you're using Amazons of the world, if you're using any e-commerce, any reviews you're reading today, AI gives you a summary of what the total. You don't read 1,500 reviews.
Right.
It gives you a very precise, concise summary of what it is. So AI is already there. AI need not be feared upon. It is basically again another technology that it is if I had to draw an even more scary example of the Y2K problem, right? When we all thought that in the year 2000
the world
will shut down,
yeah.
Right? The computer will crash.
Absolutely.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Date changed.
Yeah.
Right? So the whole idea is AI is not again, I don't want to trivialize it to that level.
Yeah, absolutely.
AI is far more deeper, far more capable, and far more powerful. But like any technology, you need to know how to utilize it. Right? It is when mobile phones were the same, right? When we had feature phones, we stopped using phone books, right? And now when we have smartphones today, pretty much you stopped watching TV, or most of your content consumption is on your smartphones. So it is another technology that is definitely. When it comes to jobs, I think enough has been said that AI is not going to take away your job, but person who knows AI is going to take away your job.
Absolutely.
So I think that is where the real opportunity lies for people to learn, to relearn, learn to reskill and upskill is what the need of the hour is, and which is true for in any case. If you don't update yourself in the technology world, you will be obsolete.
Sure.
And if you don't want to be in that kind of a space, you can sell vada pav and continue to sell vada pav after 15 years also. There's no wrong or nothing, there's not going to be AI powered vada pav in that, right?
Absolutely. And as we're talking about the initiatives and the grants and all these other things, we clearly see that India has its own AI mission. So do you want to quickly also talk about that and how it is helping startups and innovators and AI enthusiasts in the country build on the wave of AI so that we don't miss it like any other wave? So what's your take on that? Like, can you brief us a little bit on India AI mission?
So India AI mission is a very high powered organization that has been set up to drive the AI in the country. It has 4 or 5 key pillars, providing infrastructure support in terms of compute capability for our startups, for building foundational models, giving them not just money but also nurturing them with global support system. There is a application module pillar which is built on again to contribute for building applications on layers of AI. So it's a very concerted team of highly capable individuals who are running this mission in MeitY, and there is already 4 or 5 startups that have been identified to build the Indian foundation models. It's there in the public domain. Sarvam, Yani, and a couple of other startups who have been there, and there is 4 more who are going to build the next set of foundation models. So 8 of them. So there is definitely a very focused area. And last but not least, we are also going to host the India AI Impact Summit which is happening in the 19th and 20th of February in 2026, where it is going to be one of the most talked about or most high profile summit in the AI world.
Wow.
which is the we were the co-chair for the France summit in 2025, and we will now be hosting it in 2026.
Sure.
So this is a summit where AI is going to be debated, dialogued, and discussed and demonstrated with all the in all dimensions.
Sure.
Be it in the safety and trust area, be it in science, be it in health, healthcare applications, be it in the in education, and last but not the least in AI for social good. So it is going to be a very, very exciting times for us coming
Awesome.
year.
And how can people in general, startup guys, startup enthusiasts take advantage of it? How can they apply? How can they attend? Maybe a quick.
So obviously the summit website is getting ready, but India AI website has all the details. You can log on. You can search for India AI Mission. You will definitely get all the details.
Awesome, perfect. So bringing back a conversation to startups, because there are 2-3 again very interesting things that are noted in your conversation coming again and again. One is that you give a special attention, special focus, special thrust on customer centricity. I have been again hearing you from the entire day, and you've been especially telling startups to be super focused on the customers. And then you also mentioned this very interesting thing as a line, and you said customer is your best investor, right? And in this world where, on a risk of maybe sounding a little weird, but funding is glorified, and by default every founder, by default, they think that that they're entitled to a grant or are chasing funding. How do you think, or why do you think customer is, like, for example, of course the customer is very, very important, but again, how do you shift into that mindset, right? Give me some tips, advice, pointers that I want founders to remember, and maybe if we can somehow tell them why funding is secondary and customer is important. So tell me your thoughts on that, because I want to make this like a micro lesson, right? For founders to understand that customer is still the core of your business.
The short answer is you can't tell them.
Okay.
They have to experience it. Okay. Because the truth is, you start your business not for your investor. If you're starting your business for an investor, then you're starting for the wrong reason, right from the word go. If you have to start,
I want you to repeat that once again, because that's a very, very important, powerful line. Can you repeat that once again?
So if you, as I said, you can't tell them that customer is not important or your funding is secondary. All I want to say is, if you're starting your in business for investor, then you're starting for the wrong reason. You have to start for your customer. You have to solve a problem for your customer. The customer is your best investor. You build businesses on your customer money, then investors will come running after you, and the other way is not going to be true. If you, no matter how much money you have from your investors, if you are not solving a valuable and adding value to your customers, no customer is going to run after you. And I think there are enough examples in the Indian startup ecosystem that has proven this in the past. So all that the young founders need to understand is to study the past and understand some of the business models that have failed despite a huge amount of funding, and understand that hey, with money these people couldn't survive and grow and win. What else is wrong? What would have gone wrong? So some sort of a self search needs to happen rather than we telling them, because no matter how much you tell them, they will always come back and say money. They think that money will solve all the problems. It is not true.
Got it. So give me, don't take me wrong, maybe I'm asking for a magic bullet here, but tell me one lesson or one line that how can founders have a better mindset towards customer centricity?
Well, one line, I think you got to start looking at an outside-in perspective.
Okay.
Right? You are building for the market. it's not about what you want to sell. It's about what the market wants to buy, right? And I keep saying these three fundamental questions. Are you solving a real problem? Is somebody willing to pay for the solution? And last but not the least, is the solution scalable? These are very, very fundamental questions one should ask before they really start.
Awesome. Thank you for that masterclass. Really appreciate that. Now, once again, one of my questions, again, picking up from, again, your speech in the morning, you spoke about the 3-pillar framework that your team and you follow, right? And I loved that framework, and I loved the overall positioning of it, how you yourself have figured out an internal framework to kind of drive the mission and what is very, very close to your heart. So can you talk about that 3-part framework, and again, how are you leveraging that framework to build for India? Can you talk about that?
Sure. So when I took over this role about 8 months back, so obviously MeitY Startup Hub had been around for about 3.5 to 4 years, and we were looking at, okay, what are we really doing? Because within MeitY and outside MeitY there are pretty much a lot of organizations who are doing very similar stuff. Funding is being done, mentoring is being done, support market access is being done. So also, how are we going to be really different? Because again, you can say from my marketing and branding, whatever knowledge, I said we have to have a differentiator to grow, right? So my differentiator was to kind of ensure that I kind of look at what is the white space in the ecosystem, and how do I tap that into that space, and also give a purpose and a message to the ecosystem very clearly that what we are really here to do. So taking cue from that, I kind of pivoted around these 3 key pillars. The first one being that we are the deep tech, we are the custodians of deep tech startups in the country. Because end of the day, while most ministries are capable of, but MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and IT, is well placed with India AI mission, India Semiconductor mission, India Cyber Security program. There are enough programs in the MeitY, within the ministry itself, to position ourselves as the deep tech custodians or custodians of deep tech startups in the country. So that was our first pillar. Under that, I also looked at electronic design and manufacturing is a very important area. I mentioned that the significant amount of electronics that today used in the country is actually manufactured in some other country and is imported. How do I change that, and how do we change it? So focus on deep tech and electronic design and manufacturing became our first pillar. The second pillar is we need to broad base this beyond the Bangalores and the Hyderabad's and the Gurgaons of the world.
Correct.
So Genesis program offered me that reason that I should look at broad basing innovation and entrepreneurship in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and why not have that as one of our key pillars as well. So that was the second pillar. The third pillar is inclusive tech. Inclusive tech again has 3 sub-pillars, sub-points, which is vernacular tech, because I keep saying language should never be a barrier for learning. Language is a means for learning, but never a barrier. So again, tech, if the Japs can do everything in their own language and build some phenomenal products, why can't we? So that is the vernacular tech. Second aspect is assistive tech, which is again a reason why there is a need for India to focus on assistive tech.
Sure.
And last but not the least, women in deep tech is something that we are looking at. So these 3 aspects form the inclusive tech pillar. So deep tech custodianship, electronics and design manufacturing. Second is tier 2, tier 3 cities, and last is inclusive tech. So it gave a new purpose to MeitY Startup Hub, and then we said, okay, now everything that we do will revolve around these 3 things, and awesome. then we kind of see, okay, now how can we do activities around this.
Sure. While I'm enjoying this conversation, I can go on and on. We have to wrap, so I will just be asking you 2 concluding questions. One is, where can people learn about all of these things and can know more about MeitY and the kind of work MSH is doing, and can figure out what is in for them, or how can they take leverage of it to build their own startups and to seek support? Where can they go and find all this information?
Well, it's as simple. I'm sure you can put it in a caption. msh.meity.gov.in is the website, and you can write to us. You can visit us at msh.meity.gov.in, and LinkedIn is another platform. MeitY Startup Hub. Follow the MeitY Startup Hub page. You will get all the updates.
Perfect. And my last question is, which I want you to tell us, how can we contribute more to the nation development? This podcast is going to be watched by a lot of students later on, and then a lot of young people will be watching this. How can we as young people, young students, contribute to the nation? How can we be the part of this entire fantastic journey India is on in building tech and innovation and startups? So how can we contribute? Like, what is that you expect from us? Tell us 3 things you expect us to do.
Well, more than expectation, it's a request that I can say. Request is to be proud of what your nation has offered to you, because India has today, for all practical purposes, has the best quality of education, good quality of education. So how do you contribute back to the country? Solve an Indian problem, solve a problem, because all said and done, water, hygiene, sanitation, all of these are still a problem for us, right? Look beyond your lens, look beyond your comfort zone, and look at what kind of problems you can solve for the country. I think from a problem creator mindset to a problem solver mindset, right? I think that is the first thing you can be. Second is, do whatever you're doing with a very strong focus and commitment. I think I keep saying you don't have to change the world, but if you do whatever you're doing it will eventually change the world as a better place. So do it, whatever you're doing, do it with a lot of commitment and depth. Don't do it for the sake of somebody else or with a very shallow purpose, right? So do it with a purpose. And third and most important is try to add value to your stakeholders. It could be your friends, it could be, because we are a society, and whatever little you can contribute in terms of knowledge, in terms of time, even if you can teach somebody, if you can give some mentoring time, you can give some mentoring time. Giving does not necessarily mean it's only money or only resources. Even if you share something, a nice article with somebody will benefit from that, is a very nice way of creating and adding value to people. So add value to people around you.
Awesome. And last, although I would have asked you for a separate message for the students of JECRC University, but I think you've covered that very well. And I think the larger lesson that applies to the youth of the country applies to these kids as well. How was your experience of being on the campus the entire day? You met so many incubated startups, you met so many students, kids were clicking selfies with you, and a lot of them were, also listening to your conversation. How do you feel about it? Like, how was your experience? Were you able to kind of, is there a memory you're going to take? So tell me your overall experience of visiting university.
It has been an amazing day, a day very well spent. If something has to pull me out on a Saturday, I think this would be the best Saturday. So obviously, it's been a phenomenal experience. Being among young minds, young innovative minds, and young entrepreneurial minds is always something that I'm very, very excited about. And today was a very, very special day. And I love the infrastructure. I love the energy and the vibrancy in the campus. And above all, the leadership is also very committed to growing this innovation and entrepreneurship program in the campus. So I think where there is intent, the content will be created. So I think I know. Right. So definitely, I really wish JECRC a wonderful time ahead.
Awesome. And with that, I would like to really, really thank you for giving us the entire day of your time. And it was really a pleasure and a privilege to host you here in the campus. Thank you for, like you said, thank you for giving time on Saturday. And we really appreciate it. And we hope you come back soon for more interaction with our startup founders, with more interaction with our students, and would love to host you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the wonderful hospitality at JECRC.
And if you have a question for him, do leave them in the comments below, and we'll be happy to have a look and reply back to them. Thank you.